Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If you want to solve, an argument between two parties or an incident that occurred between two sides, let's say in a family, a man and a woman, they have a dispute, and someone comes in, be it a marriage counselor or could be police being called. You would like to, if you want to solve the problem, you have to understand what happened. And in order to understand what happened, you have, in the dynamics in the family, you have to ask as many people as possible, and both sides as a beginning, as a must, as an ABC 1, 2, 3. You have to start asking the first and then the other side. And then you expand and ask more people from outside, about the dynamics and who's who, what's what, so you have a better understanding of the problem. So you can gather the information and you can bring it and find a solution. So here we have Russia and we have the West. It's not Ukraine, it's the West. And the West, you can narrow it to United States. Why? Because if United States wants something, everybody says yes. If everybody else says they want something and United States says no, stays no. Okay, that's how you figure out who's in charge, okay? And I haven't heard anybody in Europe saying something else that United States did not want and it happened. But the other way around is always. So that's the rule, and there's not even a special rule or a particular rule, or you know what I mean? So what we have here, we have Dmitry Medvedev, the former president of the Russian Federation, the former prime minister of the Russian Federation. He is one of in the Security Council of the Russian Federation right now, and he probably know he's very verbal lately. Now, I don't know if he was switched and appointed to be like this, or he doesn't want to be caught as being, an asset of the guys over there, so he makes more noise than everybody else. So what's going on here? Usually that's how it happens when you see someone too eager for all of a sudden. Maybe he just wants to be, he can't be Medvedev. Medvedev is so tough, but he's the one who's on the payroll. So it happens like this, but that's a very cheap way of looking at things. But it's still there. It happens as a general rule. That's the general rule. You either don't say anything and you don't draw attention, but if you see that everybody's starting looking around, then you make a lot of noise on the other side and say, it can't be this guy, he's with us. Now, what happened? Medvedev makes some statements now, and he says tells us the way the other side sees the things, what's going on. And if you want to solve the problem, you would listen to that. Now you listen and then you just discard it because you don't like it, or you don't want to consider it because your agenda is already set, which I think is the case right now. Or you listen and say at least, okay man, these are your concerns. This is what you say happened. They didn't say that. They didn't say something else. So let's come together and let's discuss. That would have been avoided in 2021 in December if those guys would have said, yeah, let's talk. But they didn't want to talk. They thought the Russians' security concerns were illegitimate. And the fact that they can bring whatever weapons they want in Ukraine should not concern Russia whatsoever. And Russia would bring, let's say, weapons to Nicaragua, or let's say, I'm just saying Mexico or Cuba. Again, United States would say, US would say, well, it's fine, man. Let's say okay. I don't feel concerned at all. I bet that's the exact answer you're gonna get, because that's gonna happen. So what happens here? Sputnik. This is from today, the 23rd of May, 2023. NATO gunning to destroy Russia through proxy war in Ukraine, Medvedev said. Well, I think this is clear for a lot of us. There is nobody in the so-called collective West that Russia could negotiate with to defuse a dangerously escalating conflagration in Ukraine, as Washington and its NATO allies don't want peace. They don't want cooperation, they want confrontation, Russian Security Council Deputy Chairman Dmitry Medvedev told RT. Now, you don't like whatever he said, the key word is this: diffuse the dangerously escalating conflagration. So, escalates to what? Where else could that escalate? It could be only 2 points, I see. One, Russia and some NATO countries are going to get in hot conflict. That means Russia will bombard, I don't know, Warsaw and other countries, and the other guys we're going to send back, or the last escalation will be nuclear weapons used by the Russians, and everybody will do what? Do you think they're going to hit back, or they're going to say, "Oh, take it easy"? Do we need to get that point? Maybe that would have been, I don't know, I'm not promoting that, but that would have probably avoided all this year and 3 months of bullshit that we're having over there with all this destruction. An atomic bomb dropped on an empty field somewhere in Ukraine. We say, where would that have been? I can pretty sure you can find a location. Drop it over there as a warning and say the next one is going to be like the Americans said. Oh, this is Hiroshima, blown up. Next one is Nagasaki. And if you don't agree with us, the next one is going to be Kyoto. The next one is going to be Yokohama. And the next one is going to be Tokyo. That's what they said. And the guys say, oh my God, these are criminals. Okay. Boom, the second one. Okay. And they stopped. So I'm not advocating of that. You got that? I do not advocate for that. I'm just saying that is probably where the whole conflict goes to right now, according to the first sentence over there in this article coming from Medvedev. Because where is the escalating? What else can be escalated? What else that was not done yet? So NATO still stubbornly refuses to accept the fact that the current scenario, where it is fueling a proxy war against Russia and Ukraine, is teeming with the risk of nuclear apocalypse. Deputy Chairman of the Russian Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, told RT in an interview, you hear this? Is teeming with the risk of nuclear apocalypse. That's the escalating conflagration, dangerously escalating. Are they going to listen? No. Otherwise, and I'm quoting, otherwise Washington and its NATO allies would not funnel such dangerous weapons to the Ukrainian regime. So apparently they believe that a nuclear conflict or a nuclear apocalypse is impossible because it is never possible. They are wrong. Now this is something that you should not forget. So he says these guys are thinking that we're not going to use nuclear weapons because it's impossible. But we say it is. They are wrong. It is possible to use them. We might use them. I mean, you take this, put it, frame it, and put it in your room or in a toilet. Whenever you go take a piss, you read it. And at some point, even can follow a completely unpredictable scenario. Do you see that? They might not warn you and drop 1 or 2 or 3. And the responsibility will lie entirely with the North Atlantic Alliance. Okay, this is what he thinks. Point of no return. That's another thing. Washington is on the amount of arms shipments already sent to prop up the regime in Kiev, including the latest decision by London to transfer its long-range Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine. Medvedev noted that it was hard to determine if the point of no return had already been passed. And I'm quoting, nobody knows, and therein lies the main danger. That means people can just jump the gun. That's what he says. People might react and without any plan, because as soon as something is delivered, the response is, we need more long-range missiles or now fighter jets. Then all will be good, only if it won't. Nothing good will happen. We'll deal with that too. But more and more lethal weapons will be used. See this? Will be used. It's not like could be used, might be used, blah, blah, blah use. No, it will. All right, well, West wants to destroy Russia. This is what the other guys think. There is no one in the West that Russia could talk to, seek common ground with, at least not yet. Medvedev stated, those waging a proxy war against Russia in Ukraine with such zeal, and I'm quoting, don't want peace. They don't want cooperation, they want confrontation. They are trying in every possible way to infringe on our country. He stressed. You say, well, it's propaganda. Well, I don't think he doesn't have a point. I think he's got a big point. And I'm quoting, at minimum, a restriction, containment of the Russian Federation. They are doing the same in relation to China. But the ultimate goal is a destruction of Russia as a country. But it won't work. We will not let them. That means we're not going to lose, he said. How do you think they're not going to lose? Looking back on the sabotage and terrorism that NATO proxy war in Ukraine has been replete with, Medvedev noted that the US should compensate Russia for all the damage and destruction it showed, like the bombing of Nord Stream. Hey, by the way, where is the Nord Stream? Let them return the funds, or at least allocate funds for the restoration of Artemovsk, Mariupol, Artemovsk, Bakhmut, and a host of other places that were destroyed with their help and support, with their money, end quote, he said in a reference to the Donbas cities pummeled with billions of dollars worth of NATO-supplied weaponry. So, I don't know, you can turn it and twist it, even if you don't agree with anything he said. How are you going to categorize him? You're going to probably say he's irrational, or lying, or an asshole. But assholes might use nuclear weapons before a normal person, a good person like you or like I, would use, correct? Correct. So wouldn't you be a little bit concerned? But Medvedev said, those guys think that's impossible. And he said, no, it's not. We will use them in the circumstance. Escalate it, and where's the next step? I told you the next step. Attacking NATO countries and vice versa with conventional, and then what's the next one? We're two more steps. Then one more step. The other one is going to be nuclear weapons. That's one more step. Attacking one another with conventional weapons, and then will be the atomic whatever will be. I hope we don't get there, but these guys are still thinking the Russians are. I think they're pushing it until the Russians will say, okay, that's it. That's it. Ultimatum we give you 24 hours. In 24 hours, we're going to do something. And the other guy's going to say, yeah, we're going to be ready. We're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. What are you going to do? All right? You're going to wait to see what these guys are doing. I hope we don't get there. But it seems like with this state of mind of these guys, I think very, very, we're not going to get to being dropped. Because I guarantee you, that's my assessment. I think that most likely, see, I'm leaving exit doors here. Most likely, if the Russians give an ultimatum and they drop a bomb somewhere, nuclear weapons, the West will not react with the nuclear weapons, with anything. Why? Because they know the next one is going to be apocalyptic attack. Do they want it? No, because they have more to lose than us. What do you have? A house, an apartment, family, and a job, and a dog, and a cat, and what? That's all. But they got history, they got families, they got history, they got names, blasons of the family, arms codes, they have power, they pull string on the global scale. They're important people. Why would they want to die? Are you crazy? Or their past, or all their work got them to the highest points. Now to lose it because of Zelensky or Shmihal? Are you crazy? They will stop right there. But that's what I think. And I didn't consider a lot of things, but I think if I just get it to the bare bone, that's what it is. That's the only thing that will stop these guys from continuing their stupidity. And I'm saying all of them. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.